Hey everybody, this is Jason Collins. I am new to the Headshot crew, and so I thought what better thing to do than to give back to the community at this early stage, pay it forward a little bit. The original poster had asked or had shown us where she had done some color changing on this guy's shirt, and a discussion arose from that about how limiting. She said, I was only able to get a few colors. How can I do more? Or somebody said, I'm sure somebody who knows how to do more will pop on and help you. Well, I'm here to show you how I would do it. It may not be the perfect way to do it, but this is how I would do it. And this is how I think she did it to begin with. So I'll show you that really quickly. You take your working layer, and I always make a copy of it just out of force of habit. Drop in a hue saturation adjustment layer. And the way you do that is you just click over here and you go to hue saturation and you drop that in, and that's what's right here. Then what you do is you come over here and you grab this hand, and it's a color selection tool, and go into sort of the mid-tone area. Make sure that your sample size is anything other than point sample. Usually 3 by 3 or 5 by 5 is a good place to go. So that way you're not accidentally sampling a random pixel or a bit of noise or something like that. So just go into your midtones, and you'll see over here where it has sampled this color range, which is representative of the shirt color. Now, then literally all you have to do is you just take your hue slider up here and you move it around, and you get a color shift on the shirt. And it some colors work better than others because of shadowing and different things like that. And then you also have the option of increasing the saturation, so you can make it a punchier color, or you have the option of working with luminosity, and you can do some adjustments on there that will change some of the color values in there. I think this is probably how she did it. Um, I think that is probably a good way to start, and it works a lot of the times, but it's very limiting, as was pointed out. I'm going to show you how I would do it. So we'll get rid of this hue saturation adjustment layer because we're not going to need that anymore. The first thing I would do is create a mask, and there's a lot of different ways to create masks. You can use the quick selection tool, which even with recent updates in Photoshop, the quick selection tool really works well. Or you can use the pen tool, which in my opinion requires a lot of practice because getting the pen tool to behave the way that you want to is not intuitive. At least it's not intuitive for me. And there's a tremendous learning curve there. Or you can go and you can do select and you can select a color range. And that's what I did. I used select color range to build the beginning of this mask, and then I went in and I refined it myself. So you're going to need a mask. That's the first thing. And then the second thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to drop in another hue saturation adjustment layer, because the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to remove all of the color from this shirt. So you create a hue saturation adjustment layer, you pull your saturation all the way over to the left, desaturate that completely, and only what is in the mask gets desaturated. So once we have all the color out of this shirt, we can begin to add in the colors that we want in the shirt. And the way that I do that is I drop in another adjustment layer, and I make a solid color adjustment layer, and then you can pick whatever color you want. I just happen to pick blue, and once you have dropped that layer in, you just drag the mask up onto that layer, and that's what I've done here. So if I turn that layer on now, you can see now that we have a blue shirt. And literally at this point, all you have to do is go into your solid color layer here, and you can change the color of this shirt to literally anything that you could possibly imagine, right? You have nearly infinite options available when it comes to the colors that you can use. And I mean, you can really fine tune this thing into something that is really um, that really matches. If you have to match someone's clothing, you can do a really good job of that. And then you can also put in hex codes and RGB values and stuff to match a color exactly, you know, or you can pick areas in the photo that you can then use um, to match the clothing. And what I like to do is if I've got a couple and the guy has on a shirt that doesn't necessarily match the girl, if his eye color is easy to discern or easy to select, okay, I'll come in here, I'll take my adjustment layer and I'll grab this color right here, and now the guy's shirt is, you know, and we can go in here and we can adjust the you can adjust the luminance values and stuff like that to make it a bit darker if you want to or whatever. But now what you've done is you have made his shirt a color that she is going to identify with because you've picked a color you know, that she sees in his eyes or he sees in her eyes or whatever. And that's just something that I do from time to time. But this gives you an idea that, I mean, your choices of color on this are practically infinite. Now, there is one limitation to this, and I'll show you. Um, the only thing that you can't do with this method is you can't make a solid black shirt. So if you pull your color down here into the solid black area, you're just going to get gray. And if you take it all the way up to white, you're just going to get a lighter shade of gray. You're not going to be able to get pure black or pure white doing it this way. Then that's just one of the limitations of the way that this works. You're changing data, and black would be an absence of data. So that data's there, and all you can do is change the value. You can't remove it. So that's one of the limitations. But it really opens you up to, I mean, to some fairly amazing changes that you can do with clothing and colors and matching and stuff. So anyway, that's how I would do it. Hopefully this was not confusing for you guys. Use it. Let me see what you guys get done, and have a great day.